Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there. You gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross, and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Position make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter. Make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best interest.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we must stand together and be counted, because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job. Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose. Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage. We are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestation. Man up. Manifestation.
A place where we inform, build, and inspire.
All right, welcome to another week of Manifestations 2020. We have a super dope show for you guys, a very much needed show for everybody that's tuning in right now. I know that the voting is coming up in the next couple of months. Where's our head at? What is the strategy? What are we doing? What is the whole process for yourself, your family, your friends? Are you being influenced, or do you really know what's going on for yourself? I think a lot of things when we go through life, we don't understand how important it is for us to gain the information for ourselves and not be programmed by a lot of people. Because even with your immediate family, you love your mother, you love your father, you love your spouse, girlfriend, you love your family members. Even they can be influenced in a negative way or even in a perception that can not only be detrimental for you, but also can lead you into a slaughterhouse later on down the road. So in order to avoid those type of kinks and hiccups on your journey of life, it is very important for you guys to start knowing what the matrix really looks like and not the illusion that they portray to you. Remember, the American dream is only as good as the vision of the person who sees that as their American dream. Not everybody wants to be rich. Not everybody wants to live a certain lifestyle. Sometimes the most simplest things, the simplistic things, can be that heaven for that person, can be that American dream for that person. So everybody has their own accord of how they feel like they want to live life and how they want to go upon this journey of life. So because we carry all different ways and different journeys on it, everybody's perspective, motivation is going to be on a different drive than everybody else. But when we talk about the collective majority, there's things that affect the collective majority. So as much as we want to do the individual journeys with life, there also has to be a collective aspect as well that can protect not only yourself but also the collective of your race or your the people that you gravitate to, your tribe. So you want to make sure that you're doing what you need to do effective individually, but you also want to make sure that you're part of the collective that's doing something positive for not only your immediate branch of family, but also for other people in their immediate branch of family, because we have to push the ball forward like how our ancestors did for us. And they did it in a collective movement. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in now is due to our ancestors putting down the strength, the effort, the motivation, and the collective drive to propel the generation that us, which was the grandchildren's and the great grandchildren's, into the direction that you see us in now. So we have to do that for the next generation and the next generation after them. We have to collectively come together to make sure that they have what they need and the protection given to them so that they can go ahead and do what they do and not be affected in a way. And let's be honest with you, not revert back into our past of being back into slavery in some form of fashion. We went from physical slavery, but then we went into mental and financial slavery. We haven't got on a collective level to basically push that out of the way so that our children don't have to even deal with either one of those. And because we're lacking in that, we're regressing. And now they're going to be impacted by not only the mental and financial, but maybe if we don't do what we do, they can revert back to physical slavery. All right. So with that said, I definitely want to pass that over to Major, because Major had definitely created this segment for us tonight. A very important topic that he wanted to address with the family heading into the voting session and make sure that we sharpen you up and, you know, just give you a better insight of what's really going on. So that way you can not only protect yourself, but your family and your future children and their future children. All right. So with that being said, all right, Major, you got the floor. It's all you, my brother.
Yay. Welcome to Manifestations 2020. What's good? So, you know, first of all, shout out to my two brothers, Bobby Drake and Anthony Malcolm. We here, we in the building.
For sure.
You know, I thought this show was really important today because we got too many people running around here with nigga news. You dig? And that's a problem. You know, when I say nigga news, I'm talking about misinformation that unfortunately, I'm just talking to us. This is within the family, right? Black folks, a lot of us get out here, either one of two things is happening. Either we're voting out of fear and tradition. Always been shamed that we have to vote and that we have to vote Democrat, and if we don't vote Democrat, we're selling out. I had some buffoon tell me this week that if I don't vote for the Democrats, then I'm selling out. I had some buffoon actually tell me that this week, and he thought he was so informed. The Democrats haven't done anything for us in 60 plus years. What am I selling out? In fact, they go out of their way to not do things specifically for us. And black people, Ice Cube talked about this to his credit. Recently, Umar Johnson came out and he spoke about this. Tyrese even came out and spoke about this. I mean, it just is what it is. Too many times we're going out there and, somebody comes down to the hood, they shake a few hands and kiss a few black babies. And just because a white person acknowledged us, we're ready to give them our vote. No, that has to stop, and it has to stop now. A lot of us are very lazy. We don't like to look up the information and research the candidates properly to find out what their platform positions are. I had a debate with someone that I actually respected once. It was about voting, and they were like, "Oh, they should run Oprah or they should run Oprah or Michelle Obama." I would vote for them in a heartbeat. I looked at them like they had three heads. You'd vote for Oprah or Michelle Obama in a heartbeat. What do you know about what Oprah or Michelle Obama would do to govern the country? I don't know, but they better than Trump, and I like them. Bruh, we have to grow up, is what I'm basically saying. At the end of the day, you got to be smarter than that, because they got us like that with Obama. He's a black man. Okay, cool. He talks good. He got a pretty family. We were so enamored with the fact that a black man might get elected and was electable. Hey, white people like him too. Oh, shit. We might be able to get a black president. Wow. We were so taken aback by that, and it distracted us so much, we didn't even pay attention to what this nigga said he was going to do for us, or not. And then you look back and you look at his policies, and he never did speak to us about what he would do for us. He got in office and talked about doing shit for every other group but us. And we were perfectly fine with it. And we're doing it again. And that has to stop. And, a lot of people, it's that either that one issue, they vote out of fear and tradition, like I said, or the second issue, they just don't have the information and they're too goddamn lazy to go get it. You know what I'm saying? So those are the two things that plague us as a people. And hopefully with some of the information that we give you on this show and other shows that we do, hopefully we can prepare you with enough information so that you can be inspired to go out there and do the proper research and not only verify that this candidate is a good person that you like and all those other things. That's kind of par for the course, right? We as a people need to get directly concerned with politicians doing something for us in exchange for our vote. It's a quid pro quo system. They do something for us, we vote for them. It's been very one-sided. We always vote for them. They don't do anything for us. To give you an example of what I mean really quick before I end, when Joe Biden got elected the last time, in the last election, the first thing he did was pass a law to protect the lives of Asians. Black people have been needing a law specifically to protect our lives since forever. We put him in the position to get in office because we saved him in the primaries. He got in office and forgot all about us and started focusing on protecting Asians. We need to call that out as a people, and we don't. We're just too happy when a white person gives us a pat on the head and says, "Oh, good little Negro." No, we got to get off that. And I'll park the Chevy. You dig?
Yeah, I did want to just show this one video of what you were talking about. I think it pretty much gives you a glimpse of what you were just saying. Mm-hmm. And then I'll let Bobby cook real quick.
Rather than leaning into predictions, I just want to kind of celebrate what today means. It's the first time a woman and a woman of color, a black woman, is going to be at the top of the ticket. One of my icons, Shirley Chisholm, who I really went into politics learning about her. She was only on the ballot in 14 states, but this time it's different. And so I think That may be in some of the predictions. This feels different than it has before. It feels different than 2016. But today is special, and I hope all of.
All right. So basically, that's what you were pretty much saying in a nutshell, right?
All day. It makes my head explode when I hear that shit. Really? Oh, it's a black woman. Oh my God. We should be so thankful. It's historic. Candace Owens is a black woman, and she's a Sambo. When you really mature and get politically astute, you'll understand that there's no daylight between Candace Owens and Kamala Harris. Get it, Bobby. Let them know what's up. They got my blood pressure up over here.
Man, it's just been ridiculous, the tap dancing and the line dancing they've been doing regarding the subject. And I really thought, maybe this is just me being naive, and this is one of the reasons why I don't deal too much in optimism. This is why I tend to be a dyed-in-the-wool cynic. And every time I try to venture outside of myself and kind of, grow a little bit and advance, I just get punched right in the head for my efforts. I thought that after when Tangerine was in office, that was a wake-up call that we as a people needed. Because for the longest time, and I'm not going to pretend that I was born and raised in a culture that was about black empowerment or very much forward. I wasn't raised in a Sambo shucking and jiving environment, but I was in one that very much was on the liberal left and everything. A little bit of self-disclosure. I even was an active member of the Democratic Party, far more than what most of these people who are out here banging the drum from Kama Sutra are. Right. I literally was an active participant in the Obama campaign. I was actually going door to door, putting up signs, stickers, raising awareness. I even participated in several events where there were celebrities that came down here to go ahead and advocate and speak for Obama on his behalf. So I was very much all in with the Democrats. So this isn't somebody from the outside looking in. This is somebody who may not have been the eye of the storm, but I was definitely inside the hurricane at one point.
No doubt.
And I was young too. It was a big deal for me. It was my first time being eligible to vote in that 4-year period. So it was a big deal for me, and I cast my ballot for him the first go round. And it was at this time that or just before that, I was starting to really come into the idea of what politics really is, how it's supposed to work, not the nonsense that they teach you in grade school, little schoolhouse rock type stuff, but the actual legitimate, how the grown folks, the adults, the power brokers, how they play it and where we fit into the mix. And so I went ahead and I voted him in, and I'm sitting back and I'm looking and I'm seeing all the things he's doing and all the things he's not doing. And I'm realizing by the end of that first term, damn it, they got me good. Oh, I had the Denzel Washington face on. Ha ha ha. You motherfuckers. All right.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Putting the case on all you sons of a bitch. Oh, y'all going to Pelican. I had that kind of vibe going on after that. He did not get my vote the second term around. And everything I saw just further justified why I didn't feel good about going ahead. Nothing was done for us. I saw a whole lot of marketing at us, talking to us, doing the whole yo, 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 I'm one of you, I'm from the soil, that kind of talk. But when he was actually in a position of power to do things, even when he had a Congress that had the majority of Democratic seats, nothing was done for us. And and that's when the corner was turned for a lot of black people who are now giving the cold shoulder to the Democrats, where they said, you know what? We were holding out that one hope, and that was where the Democrats messed up too. That one carrot on the end of the stick was black people hoping that a black president was going to be the difference maker. We just need to get one of us in there. We even had Tupac singing, although it seems relevant, we ain't ready to see a black president and all that. We got one. And it turned out to be just another Monday, another Tuesday. Only thing changed was the year on the calendar, but the day, the month, the week, everything was the same old same. And that's when a lot of us realized, okay, so it was just a ruse. They were never going to actually let anything go down. And that's where we are today. But I thought we got wise during Tangerine's era, and what has become evident to me is that we were just on alert. But now that he's out, everyone's got relaxed and calmed down again. And what it's proven to me, and this isn't an advocacy for Tangerine or for voting him back in, but what this has proven is that it seems that the only time we have sense in our heads or we operate like we have two brain cells clinging together up here is when our foot is to the flame and our ass is on the burner. That's the only time we seem to make rational, logical thoughts and sense. That's the only time it seems to get to us when we're going through it. Thus far, we have not proven that we are able to make sound, sensible, reasonable, logical decisions politically when everything is doing good.
Right.
So that's where I am with it. And hopefully we're going to clear up some of these things and make this a bit more plain as we go deeper tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
Well said. I think overall, we all have been sucked into the political matrix because we have been programmed from generations before us, because nobody really dials down to understand what the real political framework is. We've had our elder Malcolm X, who really broke a lot of that down from the ballot to the box with his speech, which is one of the most iconic political speeches that really breaks down what the game being played on Black people are. And that's one of the very few, or if only, person that I know that broke down the real gameplay or political theatrics that's being played on us was broken down by Malcolm X. And then even during that time, a lot of people didn't know there was a Sambo that was by the name of, what's that Sambo name? Rustin.
Rustin? Bayard
Yeah.
Rustin.
Yeah, Rustin, yeah.
Yeah. So Rustin was the Sambo that was supposed to be challenging Malcolm X, but he didn't have enough intellectual capacity to even stand with the Malcolm X. So that's why he was in and out very quick. A lot of people didn't know who he was at that time. He got a little clout, but that was about it. But to show you that the mastermind of the puppets and these people that they push out here to persuade us in a different direction, also doing very big harm to us, because a lot of people didn't know Rustin was the real reason that Martin Luther King Jr. got in contact with Gandhi and was on that whole peace thing, right? And kind of propped Gandhi up as this person that really knew what he was talking about. But as you go back into history, you started to see the real anti-Black rhetoric and statements coming from Gandhi. And that, as you guys could see, I think a couple years back, even Africa went and tore down the statue, removed the statue from one of its collegiate grounds because they found out the racial history behind Gandhi. And this was a guy that talked to Dr. King and brought that we peace, by any means, let's just hold hands and we can love each other. So a lot of that was influenced by Gandhi and influenced by, promoted by Rustin. And then Dr. King went along with the whole thing, and he got on stage and he said, the famous "I Had a Dream" speech. And then after he realized what it really was, he said, yo, you know what? And this is why I tell people all the time, nobody gives Dr. King the credit that they supposed to give Dr. King the credit for, because this man came back on live television crying in this, you can see the tears formulating in his eyes. And he was telling people that I think I led my people in a burning building. And by him saying that, he was kind of trying to right his wrongs. But we always talk about accountability. That was Dr. King's accountability moment.
Yeah.
After he had that moment, he didn't hide off. He didn't go off into the bushes. He didn't try to cower out, or he didn't even try to press back on the same road or anything like that. He went on a tour of basically empowerment, reparation, financial empowerment. There's very few videos, but very powerful videos of Dr. King going around talking about the financial apartheid that the government has done against black folks, but he also exposed the financial resources that the government was giving to everybody except black folks, and he wasn't with that. And he wanted to go up to Washington and demand that we get the same things that everybody else is getting and not be pushed to the wayside. And he was talking about the 40 acres and the mule, and that was his drive to go in there. And when he switched from being the Sambo agent that he was coerced to be or promoted to be, and he said he got out of that, and then he said, you know what, let me get on this empowerment movement and move forward with it. And once he did that, then you will understand how he died in the process of it. And during the process of it, he said, you know what, I know I'm not gonna make it to the promised land, because he was receiving a lot of death threats. And just knowing that a man who was married to a powerful woman, Coretta Scott is a very powerful woman. I think a very underestimated woman. I have her book, My Love, My Life, My Legacy, that she wrote before she died. Very well documented book of a lot of things that a lot of people didn't know. Um, and this lady was very powerful, and he felt comfortable leaving his 4 children behind just in case something happened, that she would be powerful enough and have enough energy from both of them to basically carry those children on to the next level of life. And during that, he lost his life in the process. And I said, you know, when I see people wear shirts that say, I'm not like my ancestors, I kind of laugh, because a lot of people are wearing those shirts thinking that they're tougher than their ancestors. And in real reality, they're not tougher than their ancestors. They're actually weaker than your ancestors. If you really read the book and you understand that how much beating that our ancestors took to get us to where we are now, the resistance that they held up, being unapologetic, fighting against the Gestapo race soldiers, fighting against the system, fighting against the government, fighting against these state lawmakers that were part of the Jim Crow Confederate and Alliance, fighting against that, pushing back, whooping ass in the process. You know, a lot of that, we don't give enough credit to our ancestors for doing that and the process they went through that. And when you understand your true history, you'll start to appreciate a lot of things, what they've done. And you'll also look into things that you can basically use from our ancestors to create the life that we want to see. I always say that they kind of mapped up a blueprint, and we have to make sure that we're gathering all the rest of the equations to find the solutions. They got the blueprint. So I think it's up to us to start buckling down, realizing what's going on, and not doing the same things that even our ancestors kind of was doing, or kind of got in a mood of being stuck doing. And we have to take that and formulate our own thing and make sure that we are progressing just like our ancestors wanted to do. And for the last I've been telling people for the last 16 years or 20 years now, since Obama been in office, we lost a lot through Obama. And the wealth gap has strengthened through Obama. So while we're looking at the symbolic gesture of him being a black man in the White House, you know, having this person that we never would have thought would have made it, we got blindsided by the charisma, by the way they talk, by the, you know, the representation. So that we got lost into that and not realizing that the wealth gap was strengthening on the other side, because somebody that looked like you was also playing on a team with somebody that don't look like you and was carrying out those same practices, just doing it in blackface. And I think when you really dial down into a lot of these presidents, you'll start to see things that make you want to question the reality of what's really going on. And I think that's what a lot of people are kind of wary about when it comes to Kamala Harris, is people don't want somebody in office that looks like us, but carrying out anti-Black agendas, or just pacifying us with words of hope, and leaving us stagnant instead of empowering and putting us in positions to succeed to where we need to go. And I'll land my plane on that.
Well said. Well said.
All right. So I did want to say let's bring out some of the things. I think people don't understand how the fact checkers, right? I do want to say this, and I've researched it and I put it out a long time ago. The fact checkers are politically biased. I will say that. And a lot of people don't understand how politically biased the fact checkers are, but they are politically biased. They're led that way. So when you see people always talking about fact check that, and that's not right, and this is not right, you got to understand what's the agenda behind the fact checking. What's the direction they're trying to do? Who are they trying to promote versus who are they trying to destroy? When you start looking at that, I'm just talking about fact checking in all aspects. It doesn't have to be presidential. It could be anybody from your local municipalities, because I can tell you some people locally that they try to paint a image that they're really not, just to remove them to put somebody else in that's going to be stagnant and promoting issues that's going to be more detrimental towards Black people than it is going to be positive for us. The whole blackface thing again. And I know people that they put in spots like that that ain't doing nothing for us, and they remove the people that were doing and moving the needle for us. So a lot of things that you guys don't even realize on a local level, they're doing a lot of stuff that you guys need to pay attention to, because your local elections and your local officials affect you way more than a presidential one. So we're definitely going to dial down into stuff like that later on down the road, but that's something that you guys really, really got to pay attention to. So let's get into the fact checking, right? So let's see here. All right. Where we want to start? We want to start with, okay, this one. All right, let me add this up here.
I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. What? But let's understand. So where the fuck are?
All right, so so basically he said, where the fuck are we, right? Because she said that there's nobody right now in an active war zone stationed out there, and
in active duty.
These are active military personnel that are stationed all over. And I can tell you that they're active because I just had 2 of my friends, one in the Army, not 2 of my friends, one of my best friends and one of my cousins. He just hit me up and told me he got deployed, I want to say 4 months ago. So he's 4 months back into the Navy, and he's overseas.
Is he in Afghanistan?
No, he's.
I think she was speaking specifically about Afghanistan.
No, she said war zones.
She said
nobody active duty.
She did say active war zone.
Period. Yeah, nowhere.
Right. Period.
Nowhere. So he's stationed overseas. I can't remember exactly where. But then I have my homeboy who's in the Army, and he's being deployed as well. I can't remember. They got them pivoting all over, because you got to remember, at the end of the day, they're trying to push towards this World War III thing. So right now they're still active, and they're putting them in certain spots based on the movements or what they feel like is going to pop off. So for her to say that during the presidential debate, that's not true. And even the fact checkers didn't even want to touch that. And the reason they didn't want to touch that, because if they open up that can of worms, then they know that a lot of people will go out here and debunk it. And just like you've seen, those servicemen was in there and they felt kind of offended because they were actively on duty while watching what the fuck the shit is going down. As you can see that they were recording as well. All right. So I just wanted to show that part. You wanted to add in on that? Anything y'all wanted to add in on that?
I mean, it's just kind of part. Go ahead, Bobby.
I was gonna say, I can call active bullshit on that because one of my dudes, I'm not gonna put him out there, but one of my dudes actually he shipped out to Iraq back in July, around July, August. He's gonna be over there up in northern Iraq, and he's there as we speak. He's not due to come home possibly till sometime next year, but he's basically now active duty is relevant, but I'm there and he's talking about they got bombs and stuff going on around. They got some missiles, and he was kind of worried, hoping that everyone's going to make it back to the base in one piece. It's like, you talking about there's no active war zones going on. Meanwhile, you have your troops that's over there, people that are on the ground, that are the military, and right now they got stuff flying around. But there's also some trickery going on with that as well too, because now Kama Sutra isn't as crafty as some of the others, but she still definitely gets her lies in as well too. She said that there's no active war zones. What she means by that is that there's no places currently where it's been declared as a war going on. So right now they have the war in Ukraine and everything going on right now. They have that declared as an official war zone, but the U.S. isn't directly taking any part in that. They have the whole thing going on with Gaza and the Gaza Strip and everything with Israel and Palestine. Again, there's no active duty troops deployed there. So it's a war zone, but there are no active troops. So they have people placed around different places, but certain areas where it's hot, they're just not calling them the wars. But if you have insurgents and people firing rockets at you, firing bombs at your personnel, not on citizens but civilians, but they're trying to catch you slipping, that's a war going on. That's a hostile area. That's not some place where you can go walking with your family and pushing a damn stroller and walking your dog and everything. It's hot out there. But what they're doing, especially right now, is they don't want to go ahead and give the opposing party, the Republicans, any sort of leverage, whatever. That's why they were so big trying to get Tangerine out of there, because they thought that we were heading towards war. And typically, historically, whenever there's a war that's going on during a presidency, especially when elections coming up, the country is less likely to go ahead and change political parties because people want stability. People don't see that as a time when there should be political instability. They want the same leadership that got us in here, seeing us through, and then once the war is over, then they can talk about maybe switching parties. Right. So they were very, very eager to use their congressional power to go ahead and make sure that Tangerine couldn't stay in when they thought that we were heading towards war. But now that you have this popping off, they're trying to say, well, see, we're at peace, but not at war. They're trying to make it look like they have a better record than they actually do by saying, well, this is at the third. But they're just not declaring anything. It's not that it's not happening. You're just not saying that it's going on. That's all. So the question is, if it's the old adage of, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around, does it still make a sound?
Right.
Well, if there's bombs dropping, if there's missiles going off, if there's fighting with combatants going on, but we don't call it a conflict, is it still a conflict? So you got to watch out for the trickery, the word usage, the technicalities that they're trying to get in.
Okay. Definitely. Wow. Let's see here what we got. All right. So here goes some more fact checking that they're going to do. All right.
Fact from fiction on a range of topics. We heard from immigration to abortion.
Boy, a lot of ground to cover here tonight, Dave, and we've only got so much time. Let's tackle a couple of them right now, starting with this comment from the vice president on the economy.
My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that.
Former President Trump was correct in rebutting that he has not proposed a national sales tax. But here's why we rate the vice president's claim as needing context. Trump is proposing to impose a tariff of 20% on imports from China. That $4,000 estimate that Harris claimed is based on some economists' estimates of how the costs of that tariff could be passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices on goods. All right, next up here is a wild claim that has been a big talker this week online related to immigration and was repeated tonight by the former president.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Now, our verified team had checked with both city and police leaders who say there have been no credible reports or specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or eaten by immigrants. Police say they had not received a single report of it happening. The claim, Dave, appearing to have originated from a social media influencer and brought it up without evidence during a recent public city meeting.
All right, Project 2025 came up several times tonight. Harris said it's a plan that Trump would enact if he is elected. Trump maintains he had nothing to do with this at all. What can we verify about Trump's connections to this?
Well, Dave, so we know the former president has never publicly endorsed his plan, right? But we also know many members of his former administration and on his campaign, they have contributed or promoted it, including his running mate, J.D. Vance. We do have more on Project 2025 right now on 10tampabay.com/verify. Our team is also adding additional fact checks here as we complete them tonight.
Yeah, as you mentioned, a lot to digest tonight. We can only get to a portion of it, but it's been an...
All right, so they said about the eating the cats. I know that was a video that you had sent me, Major, that you wanted to basically talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to point out off rip, you know, when you have political season come about, that's when people gonna start lying. You understand what I'm saying? This is why I pointed out earlier that we, as the general populace, need to become more politically astute and stop being lazy and go out and do our own research on the topics, because they're just gonna get up and lie. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of the times. And what bothered me about this debate is they were constantly fact checking Trump, and that is fair. But Kamala Harris told a gang of lies. She was lying her Indian ass off because she's not black. She was lying her Indian ass off up there, and nobody had nothing to say about it. You understand what I'm saying? That's a problem. Trump has denied time and again that he has anything to do whatsoever with Project 2025. And I believe him, because you know what? If he had something to do with it and he endorsed it, Trump would own it. Trump is not afraid to say, okay, yeah, I rock with this policy. If you don't like it, you can kiss my ass. That's what I like about him. Kamala Harris will say anything they write on the paper for her to say. She always has somebody's hand up her ass controlling her vocal cords. Always. That's the problem I have with Kamala Harris. You understand? I think that Kamala Harris got the best of Trump in the debate simply because her attacks were sharper and they were better. And she distracted him quite a bit. She got him talking about stupid things like crowd sizes and wasting time on that. Who cares? You understand? She did that with the intention of getting him to bite and go off on this tangent talking about crowd sizes and all that. She really went in on his ego, and he responded to it. He should have stayed on course and just went at her face, because she gave him a lot of material. She's sitting up there telling this lie about Project 2025. The eating the dogs comment was ridiculous. And I just want to talk about that for a minute. The media has been really, really playing both sides of the fence with the eating the dogs and eating the cats thing. Trump nor J.D. Vance, to my knowledge, someone correct me if I'm wrong, send me the article, has said that Haitians are eating cats. What he said was immigrants are eating cats, and or immigrants are eating the dogs, eating the pets, whatever the case may be. That's what they both said. The media is the one that took immigrants and turned it into Haitians somehow. There was evidence of a person that was found eating a cat, killing a cat and eating it. However, it was not an immigrant. It was not a Haitian. It was a Black American woman. There was actually a person. So whoever must have saw that story and, you know, took the age-old smear about Haitians eating cats and said, hey, maybe I can take this and throw it in and make a, you know, create a smear that will, you know, get people to start talking crazy about Haitians. And that's exactly what happened, because we got some Sambo at a town hall meeting talking about, you know, all these horrible things that the immigrants are doing. I won't believe that shit till I see it, because this is what I know. This is what I know to be true. most of the immigrants, the overwhelming majority of the immigrants that we're having issues with here now are white immigrants. They're either white Hispanics or they're just straight up white Europeans like the Ukrainians. The overwhelming majority of immigrants that are giving problems. You know how that shit goes. We can't have too much heat on these white people. Even though they're immigrants, even though they're raising hell, we can't have too much heat on them. We got to crowbar some Negroes in there so that we can demonize them and we can switch the focus off of the white immigrants that are causing problems. So I tell my people, don't believe the hype. You know what I'm saying? There are, from what I know, and I got people who live in Ohio. From what I know, there is no group of Haitians out here terrorizing people in the streets, kidnapping their pets, killing them and eating them. That's bullshit. That's just something that the white media put in play to cause us, the American public, to demonize Haitians because they are black. That's what I got from that. And it's very inartful and very foolish of Trump, a man who was running for president, to let that type of bullshit information seep into what he would say to the public in a very important debate. I thought that was a very poor move on Trump's behalf. And, I think that's one of the reasons that he didn't really fare so well in the debate against Kamala. However, if we're keeping it a buck, I don't think either one of them did particularly well. And neither one of them convinced me to give me their vote, if we're just being totally honest about the debate. But yeah, we got to do a better job on that. We have these biased ass networks, like CNN, like ABC, and Fox is biased the other way. But, Kamala just tagged him today, I think, saying she's going to do another debate, I think, with CNN, and she hopes that he joins her. Well, that's another biased network to the left. So this is why we got to be astute and we got to do our homework, because the things that these people are saying are important, and whoever is elected is going to inform how things look, how policy looks for the next 4 years, and it's going to be critical. It's already critical. Look at the country. You can't afford basic things like rent and food. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand how critical it is. I am a product of immigrant parents. But I can tell you that the immigrants that's coming in now is not the immigrants from my parents' age, or if you have parents out there that's 60, 70 years old, your immigrant parents aren't like the immigrants that's coming in now.
Nah.
Not saying that they're bad. I'm just saying that there's a lot of immigrants in here being mixed up with other immigrants that's going to push a image out there that is going to make immigrants overall look bad. So when you look at it and you see that they're getting paid, we have immigrants that can go, I think it's Maine, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Maine. They can go to Maine and they're receiving 2 years rent free. I've been telling people, I've been in the West Palm Beach area. I actually work out in the West Palm Beach area. And I can tell you that during that time of being up in that area, I've run across a lot of immigrants, man. I'm telling you, y'all probably don't see it down here in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. But man, when you go to West Palm Beach, you know it's an influx of immigrants from overseas coming in there. And I've became assistant to some of them because a lot of them don't understand English. I am part Jamaican and Spanish, so I'm able to speak Spanish to some of them. I do know some kind of Creole, so I do speak to some of the Haitians. If I don't, I call my homegirl up and I get on the phone and she translate with them. They have asked me to use their debit card to put it in the ATM and show them how to access their funds. I've done that with them. And, even pulling it out, showing me how much they have and things like that. And they wanted to know what the calculations were from their country to here. And I would put my homegirl on to let her know, what the difference amount is and what to look out for. Because, you know, when you go to a foreign land, like if we go to Jamaica or we go to Costa Rica or some of these other islands, your currency is different. So sometimes you'll give, if you don't know the currency exchange, you'll give somebody a $20 bill and they can hand you back $2 and you don't even know that you just got gypped. You see what I'm saying? So it's very important for us to, you know, understand that aspect of it. And I don't want to see anybody get gypped, no matter what my viewpoints are. My heart still rolls with being and doing the honest thing. And that's something that I've always done. That's why I'm very huge in the community, trying to aid and make sure that our community members have somebody that they could say, yeah, you know what, I can go to Ant and definitely get some clarification on some stuff, or he can give me some resources that I need to get where I need to get to, or to you know, complete my mission of what I'm looking or searching for. Just being that aid, that's where the whole village come from. That's where the village mentality is established on. So you know, just being that type of person in that mix, I was able to see that a lot of these immigrants are getting heavy amounts of money to be here. And it's done by design. You know, people don't understand, like, I'm in the community speaking to single mothers, you know what I'm saying? And even some single fathers that don't even get the resources that some of the single mothers do, or a lot of times they do have resources for single fathers, but a lot of them don't know, and I'm able to assist them with that as well. But for the majority of the part, you have a lot of single mothers here that are born Americans that can't even get a sufficient amount of extra help because they say, quote unquote, you make too much. So they're right in the gray area of they're making enough to survive, but not making enough to establish themselves firmly. And because they're in that gray area, they get dismissed from additional help and aid from the government. But somebody who can come here and don't pay taxes is able to get a large amount of money to establish themselves. Free housing, like I told you, there's certain parts they get free housing. Also, they're getting free education, whether it's through a collegiate school to get a diploma, not a diploma, but like, you know, a degree, and or they can go to trade school and get that certification, and all of that is paid for by the taxpayers' money. And you got Americans that's sitting here that have to save up to get that type of level of education to propel themselves. You know what I'm saying? Especially us in the Black community. You know, one of the things that we try to do is we try to bust our butt for 2-3 jobs just so that our children are able to eat, or, you know, establish themselves so that they can be a foundation for their own family. So during that process, you know, it's a struggle, it's a sacrifice. And then you have people that come here that don't have to sacrifice and just get the red carpet laid out for them. Then you see why a lot of people have a lot of issues and a lot of disdain. And that's what they like to do. The government likes to create hate amongst other people. So that way we are mad at them and not mad at the original source, which is the government, for doing this. So in the process of that, you have this conflict inside of our community. As you guys can see, they have some elders up in California. They have some elders in Chicago. They have some elders in Detroit. They have some elders in New York that all came out and was like, you know what? You know, as Black folks, we always take in people and we always comfort them and we always make them feel home. But these people come here with a disdain for Black folks, and then they're riding off the back of their resources. And now Black folks are feeling the effects of being literally pushed out by another set of group of people. And that's where they're calling the replacement group of the established African Americans that are here in this country now. And that's why a lot of people have a lot of disdain for that. I even know some people that are from immigrant descent that have been here for a long time, and they're having they also have a disdain for the new immigrants coming in, you know, because they understand, like I said before, it's not the same as the immigrants that have been coming in before. This immigration move is on a different level with a different agenda, and it's really bombarding and hurting the current people that are here now. So that's where the conflict comes in, and a lot of people are pushing back and they're not having it. So you have a lot of people that may want to vote for a Democratic Party, and I'm seeing people that look like us that have switched from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party just for that aspect alone. Now, when you talk about, I know Major, you was talking about you don't see the importance of him saying that during the debate, but let me tell you something. I thought it was a very, very strategic move, not something that we would do, but I understand why he did that. And the reason why he did that, if me and you get shot by the police, would there be a large outcry for the justice for us? Not the paid people, not the paid people that go out there and do the paid picketing, not them. I'm talking about the average person. Do you think that they would jump up in rage and try to get some laws in effect if me, you, or Bobby ever got shot or unjustly shot by
To
somebody?
get laws passed? No, they probably
Yeah.
go in the streets and do some emotional shit, but you know that's what they do. You know, the focus should be on getting laws passed. That's correct, but no, not for what they should be doing it for. No.
Okay. I don't know if you saw this video. Did you see a video of a little white girl that put a turtle to fire? Remember that a while back, a year ago? You never saw that, Bobby?
Missed that one, thankfully.
All right. So it was a little white girl that found a snapping turtle outside of a pond, outside of a canal, and she ended up putting that turtle into fire. I don't know if she did it with a magnifying glass. I don't know if she actually lit the turtle with the actual fire with a lighter. This white girl got in some serious trouble. And this is a little white girl. There was no sympathy for this little white girl or anything. This little white girl got thrown in jail for that. And she was young. She was young, but I think, you know, juvie jail, but she still got thrown in jail for it. She had to write apology letters. She had to do all of these things that they made her go through the hoops about for a wildlife turtle. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because when it comes to, I would say, just the world in general, there is a overwhelming love for animals. And because there's such an overwhelming love for animals, people gravitate to that. You can be a person that could be very iconic, and the minute you do something to an animal, you are doomed worse than a criminal. There'll actually be people out here to reinstate a murderer back into society before they reinstate a person that abused animals. And we've seen that firsthand with Michael Vick. We've seen the severity of that through Michael Vick, right? A very iconic football player. Man had a dog ring and got, his whole career just went all the way downhill. Them people didn't want to hear anything when they found out about the dog cruelty that he went through. So, like I say, it's not something that we would do, not something that I would do, but I understand why he did that as a desperate measure to garnish sympathy for people who are animal lovers. Right now, we're seeing people, you know, sad to say, but I'm seeing all type of species of dogs being let into these facilities now. It's like everybody dog can be considered a emotional support dog. I've seen a dog about the size of me come in the store the other day, and it's like, you know, nobody bats their eye. Everybody's like, oh, it's an emotional dog. So, you know, that's why I say when it comes to the animals part of it, I see why he did what he did to say what he said. because it was trying to galvanize and put a what they say a
Put a battery in the back.
shock value.
Yeah.
Trying to do a shock value to get that energy and that surge of people to sympathize on that side versus the other side. Even if they were on the other side, if you love dogs and animals, you wouldn't want to support somebody that's bringing in quote unquote immigrants that's quote unquote harming animals that's been here on your domesticated animals. So I think that was a strategy that I felt like that he was using. Not something like I say that I would use or y'all would use, but that's my take on that. And I'll land my plane on that.
I hear you, bro. I get it. I know he was using some type of strategy, whatever the case may be. I just think it made him sound really foolish, and I think that he was actually in a very good position, or he is still actually in a very good position. I think that things like that will hurt him. I get it. Sometimes there, things that you want to say. I feel like Trump just can't help himself sometimes is what I'm basically saying. Yeah, there are things that, damn, that would be good, to get this particular group, but you get that group and you lose the other group. Now, as a result of that, the black vote is not for Kamala Harris. As a result of that, now you have people, because they don't really listen, talking about how Trump said that Haitians are eating cats, so I ain't voting for him. And then, as Haitian people start to say that, well, now that bubbles over into black people and white people that sympathize with black people. So now you got the whole, Trump is a racist thing. It wasn't bright. You know what I'm saying? I get why he may have done it. He thought it was bright. It wasn't. It did not hit like he thought it was going to hit. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. You know what I'm saying? And, just the whole idea of, saying all this shit for shock value is something that Trump has always done. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, if anything, he should have learned from losing the last election. That doesn't always work. You understand? Sometimes, even in the first debate with Biden, Trump actually sounded like the adult in the room, and that boded very well for him. He came out of there with very good-looking poll numbers because he was able to be the more mature one. You can't just say everything that pops into your mind is basically what I'm saying. But we'll see. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? We'll see how this pans out.
I agree with you. I feel like a lot of times it is it goes back to what they were saying. It's an old saying that is very, very common and very accurate. Mm-hmm. Don't say shit that your ass can't cash. Right? Mm-hmm. They always tell you that, right?
Check that your ass can't cash. Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of times we say things and don't really understand the consequences behind our actions until after we say it. Right. The whole thing growing up, Thumper. Remember what Thumper his mother told him? He ain't got nothing nice to say. Don't say nothing at all. Right? Okay. These were messages throughout our childhood that let us know that we have to think before we say things. Some people are out here that just say shit and then they think about it later. And it's so crazy because I have a friend, I was just talking to a friend the other day, and one of his coworkers got in trouble because he does shit and then thinks about what he does after he does it. Mm-hmm. So he works on a gas line. And he ran to go put two valves together and fucked around and put the two wrong valves together. The two wrong valves end up going into one container, and there's two different liquids in there that shouldn't be together. He did it so fast, not knowing that you put the wrong fucking hoses to the container. Mm-hmm. If he would have caught it within 5 minutes, it would have been fine. It went on for 2 hours till he realized he fucked up.
Wow.
This was something that could have cost the company millions of dollars. The only thing that saved him is that when he put the two liquids together, one of the liquids was so dense that it ended up falling in the container to the bottom, and the other one was so light it was up to the top. It's kind of like you putting oil and water together, right? Oil and what they say, oil and vinegar or oil and water? No, oil and water, right?
Yeah.
Oil and water. So you put oil and water together, you can see them separate themselves. So that's what these two liquids end up doing, and they were able to save a lot of that stuff. And he got in trouble for it, but he didn't get fired for it. And one thing that my friend was telling me is he does shit so fast without thinking. Once he do it, then he starts thinking. And I'm telling my friend, I said, it sounds like he's a little dyslexic. I don't know if he suffers from any deficiencies, but if that's how he operating, you're going to lose a lot more than you gain on that mindset. And you have people out here that run to go say shit, and then realize, damn, I shouldn't have said shit. I should have kept my mouth quiet. Trump is one of those people. A lot of people out here like that. They are like Trump, and it's very common for older white men to do that. That's what they love to do because they had the power back then to just say what they needed to say without any repercussions because they had a system set up for them that didn't garnish any repercussions towards them, but garnish repercussions towards us. Like, our ancestor, rest in power to Emmett Till, just by saying something without thinking about it, because he was in a new area visiting with family, and he just said what was on his mind, and it ended up costing him his life. But if a white person, a little white kid had said that in a reverse, he wouldn't have lost his life behind that. So sometimes, based in the system, we were always in a space where we had to control what we say in order to survive. And they had to just say anything they wanted to say because they were able to do that. And I think that was the difference. And you get conditioned into that way, and that's why a lot of people growing up, even our elders, if you look at some of your elders and you ask them the stories, and they'll say, I could never look somebody in the eye while talking to them. And this is grown. I'm talking to 40, 50-year-old people that would never look me in my eye because even if, I'm from the islands and it's very, very adopted and promoted in the islands that you never look at an elder in their eye. You never look into their eyes. It's a form of disrespect, and that was because going back to the slavery times, you could not look your master in the eye. You could not look people that didn't look like you in their eye. That was a form of disrespect, and you would get killed over it or punished for it. And we took those same the programming of that same era from the plantation that was instilled to the next generation, to even to this day. If you go down to the islands, a lot of those children would not look you dead in your eye when they talk to you. They will put their head down and talk to you. So, there's a lot of things that people do that will end up biting them in the ass. And I think Trump, that's one of the things that he do. So, all right, moving on. I do want to go to our sister right here.
Really quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, man, you
I want to toss in. Now, I really want to toss in on that debate. You also have to keep in mind a concept. And I don't think I've spoken about this on here, but I've spoken about this elsewhere when talking about politics. You also have to keep in mind the concept of controlled opposition. And it's a very powerful tactic that not a lot of people are aware of or understand, or if they know about it, they don't know it by that name. But it's a very, very powerful tactic. But for those who don't know what it is, controlled opposition is basically where you play both sides. It would be the most common example of that, probably at a lower level, would be the whole concept of good cop, bad cop. They bring you as a suspect. They haul you into the interrogation room. They might let you sit for a second. And then they have this crazy detective come in and just starts talking all crazy to you, all hostile, intimidating you. And then they might have it arranged like a skit where someone comes in and says, hey, back him off, and whatever. The person comes and says, Jesus, man, I'm sorry about that. He's a real hothead. Like, okay, can I get you anything? Water, coffee? And you just start talking all nice and calm. And the purpose is to kind of, get your emotions all out of whack and get you in a place where you're easier to work with, where you start feeling like I have this good cop that's looking out for me, but I have this nut job, and if I don't cooperate with this good cop that's in front of me, if I don't help them out, they're going to send this other person in here to make my life hell.
Right.
Yeah.
But what people forget in that instance is that they're both cops. Never mind the good, never mind the bad. They're both cops.
Mm-hmm.
They both get their checks cut from the same place. They both show up to work at the same precinct. Hell, apparently they even have the same exact shifts. Maybe even been partners. They may be partners.
Right.
But because they set such a stark contrast between the two of them, you're caught up in the here and now. You're not thinking in the bigger picture. And before long, you're either copping to something that you didn't do, or you're a little too liberal out the mouth, and you say something that gets you caught up, whether it's because you're guilty or otherwise. And that's a common tactic they play all the time in politics. When we talk about left wing, right wing, same bird, we're basically informing that it doesn't matter if you see a Democrat or a Republican or anybody else in front of you. They're part of the political system, especially those two parties.
Yeah.
If you watch C-SPAN for any length of time, and you see them have their conversations and their discussions and debates, whatever, some of these things really get intense. They get heated. They're cussing each other out. They're going back and forth, all kind of nasty. But then you go after hours to the nearest happening bar or whatever in D.C., and then you see these same politicians that are at each other's necks. Right. They're sharing a beer and just laughing it up and talking about the game, or talking about, oh man, I'll give you $5, Lenny. Yeah, it's okay, Bill. You can keep this time. Like old friends. But they put on this political theater for you, the citizens, to make them think that there's a stark difference between the two of them, and that there's one side that has your back and the other is the opposition, when the reality is they're both playing for the same team. And where we're concerned, black people in particular, as it's been said, there's no difference between the two parties, because when they're fighting for party, it's not for power. It's not about, we're going to be the black person's advocate. It's about who's going to have the power, who's going to wield the knife. One party is saying, we want to go ahead and put bullets in black people. The other party is saying, no, that's way too harsh. You're out of your mind. Let's just, use carbon monoxide and put them to sleep, put them to death with dignity. But either way, you're getting killed. There's just one's going to let you have an open casket funeral. The other's going to have you have a closed casket funeral. But you still get put in the dirt. It's all about who's going to be the person to pull the hand on the switch, pun intended. And we have to be mindful about that. That's where we get emotional and caught up. That's why you hear people making emotional arguments like, oh, well, the first black so-and-so, the first female so-and-so, the first person from this country, and you get so caught up in, only part of history. I want to put the first so-and-so in office. And it's not about making history. It's not about putting the first so-and-so or the last so-and-so anywhere. It's about who is going to advocate for our needs, who is going to do our bidding. Quid pro quo. You want my votes. You want my monetary donations to your campaign. You want my support. Okay, well, I want some stuff too. And if I don't get what I want, you're not going to get what you want.
Right.
This is not a charity that we're running. This is not, I'm going to take time off from work. I'm going to stump the precinct. I'm going to go and hold up signs and wear shirts and advocate with it. This isn't a charity organization. If you can't give me what I want, then I'm going to go ahead with whoever has what I'm asking for. If no one's doing it, no one gets the support. That's how politics is supposed to work, but that's not what we're doing. And once you get deep in the weeds, you see how much alike these parties really are. Perfect example, going back to the debates. So initially, it was Tangerine, the head citrus in charge, who threw out the first shot, and he invited Kama Sutra to a debate on Fox News, on the Fox channel. And Kama Sutra in the campaign said, no, we're not going to do that because Fox News is biased. We're not going to go on enemy territory, so to speak. We're going to have it on another place. Okay. And Tangerine said, okay, fine. They sent the invitation. They had on, was it MSNBC? Which is ironic as hell because MSNBC is not a neutral network at all. They're very liberal. But Tangerine,
was NBC.
He showed courage and said, well, you know what? That's on your territory, but it's cool. I'll go wherever.
Yeah.
And he went on there. And the crazy thing is now, you looked at how the debate went on, and how, like you said, all the fact checking was one way. No one's bothering to fact check Kama Sutra, but they're all fact checking and going at Tangerine's neck. But this same group that's so concerned about bias, well, we're not going to do it on your network because it's biased, this and that and the third. Not only did they have it on a biased liberal left-leaning station, but the moderator of the debate, the black woman that people are praising and giving such props for a job, she herself is a soarer of Kama Sutras. Alpha Kappa Alpha, she's a skiwi. So we're on a liberal network where we got ABC. Appreciate it, Cordes. So you have a moderator who, as we saw, was basically making clear that we're here to make sure that we hold Tangerine's feet to the fire in our Kama Sutras, and she's as biased as it gets out. She herself is an Alpha Kappa Alpha soarer as well. That's the same conflict of interest that you were talking about before that you put up an objection about.
Facts.
So basically, you're the exact same party that you got beef with. There's no difference. You just want to be able to do it your way. Again, left wing, right wing, same bird. They play the same games, but the illusion is you have the good guys on one side and the bad guys on the other side. So you have to be mindful of these things. Controlled opposition. Some of these antics as well, the whole thing about the whole immigrants eating cats and stuff, or Haitians eating cats. They said that the person that spread it was a right-wing shock jocker. I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't somebody who defected recently. They decided, you know what, I'm a conservative, but I don't like Trump. I feel he's bad for the country. I'm going to go ahead and try to give the Democrats a W by putting this out there. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case as well, too.
Facts.
You got to look out for a lot of these things because, again, if someone goes out and says that they're Republican and says X, Y, Z in the third, not a lot of people are going to look into it. It's easy to go along with the narrative. Well, this is what Tangerine's camp does, so it must be from his. No one would bother to think this could be a Democrat or a liberal trying to help out the Democrats by framing Tangerine's group for something that they didn't say or do. So you always have to be mindful of these things. It is not linear. This is high-level gamesmanship, and it doesn't matter what party they're ascribing to. When it comes to power, people will do whatever for it. Lord Cordes says Kamala's team was clever because they argued for open mics, and the compromise was to have the debate on ABC. Absolutely. So again, trying to find ways, just like with jury duty, with jury selection. For anyone who's knows about the process, when you have jury selection, the way that goes is it's like a fantasy football team almost. You have the prosecution and the defense. They have the pool of jurors, and they both take turns asking questions. And basically, based on the questions that are answered, they're choosing who they want on their team. The other attorney is going to say, well, we don't want this person on the team. And they finally compile the list based off of how many selections they have or how many edits they have. And based on who's used which objections or who's used which cosigns, that's going to determine what the final output of the jury looks like. It's the same difference. Kama Sutra's team was better at navigating and negotiating the terms of that one, and we see that it worked in their favor.
Definitely. I do want to add this video of the sister going in real quick.
This debate is so hard to watch when you are very clear on the fact that Kamala started it gaslighting Americans. She's been gaslighting Americans the entire time. She's picking the things that she knows you're scared of. You see, she's bringing up January 6th. She's not telling the whole story. She brings up the C word, the pandemic. She brings that up, knowing that's not his fault. He didn't start it. Matter of fact, I was in Europe the November before, and it was actually in Europe where I was at the time. It's really sad that Americans, I see my friends on TikTok on Facebook who are like, oh my God, she's cooking him. Oh my God, she's like doing amazing. She's lying in her amazingness. And let me tell you, you guys are stupid enough to believe her. All you got to do is a little bit of fact checking, but no, that's not what you're going to do. You're going to automatically call him a lie because the media and them have helped you believe that he was a lie. You ain't going to fact check it. You ain't going to look. You're not going to look. You are literally just going to automatically believe him. But are you noticing that all she keeps leaning on is this is why I'm going to be better because I don't incite the things that he do and I'm bringing us together. Baby, that is not giving me whole policies. What are you going to do? What are you able to do? Because everything that you're able to do as a VP, which also means you hold the most important seat in the Senate, you can do as president. As a matter of fact, the truth is you got a little bit more power now with the seat in Senate you have. And you're not under the telescope, the light like the president is, and yet you're not doing anything. I just can't.
Yeah, I wanted to show that video real quick, but I want to show another one as well. I want to show this other one real quick because I want to set up to show people that I'll definitely let you guys know why I'm setting this up like this.
Race baiting and fear mongering was a big part of her tactic tonight.
Part of Kamala's tactic?
Yes, Kamala's tactic.
Okay. What in particular would you remember about that?
Especially when she brought up the Central Park 5. I think that's a hot button issue, especially for a lot of African Americans, but she leaves out a lot of specifics to that. Like the lead prosecutor was a Democrat at the time. Back then, Donald Trump was also a Democrat. He wasn't always a Republican, and he was praised heavily in a good way for taking out that ad in the paper because a lot of people did think that they were guilty. So a lot of people that were against Trump now were once a big fan of his, and I think he was gaslit during the entire debate, and that was probably why he was so defensive. Yes. And even when he brought up the topic of race, he brought that up because she's pandering. She's using being black as a trope to get the black vote, but instead of her leaning into it, I would have liked to see her lean into the fact that, yes, I am a black woman, and this is my plan for Black America, but she clearly doesn't have a plan because she's essentially not black. But she...
All right, so the reason why I
flamethrowing out here.
The reason why I posted these two videos is because I want people to understand that every time we have somebody that's black running, or anytime it's a race going on, being elected or anything like that, black people tend to, not black people, but just the general population tend to put everything on black men. And black men are the reason why this person lost, because black men aren't voting for that person, and black men are voting for Trump, and everything is black men's fault every time we lose an election, right? And I just wanted to show that you had two black women, and these are just two. I can show you videos over 100 and something black people, black women that have been going on social media and really going in on Kamala Harris. And I want people to understand that there's a lot of black women that aren't voting out like that. And black women vote towards the Democratic Party more than 92%. They're a heavy, heavy hitter for the Democratic Party. I think black men are at 85%. But you're having a lot of black men and a lot of black women that aren't voting this year for the Democratic Party, but more so a lot of black women. So I wanted to show that video to show you that if this direction doesn't go in the favor of Kamala Harris, please don't say it's black men. Please don't say it's black men. There's a lot of sisters that's out here that don't want to co-sign a woman that is cosplaying as a black woman. It is very disrespectful for somebody to go out here and cosplay like you. Because if that's the case, we could have just kept Rachel Dolezal and let her cosplay as a black woman if that's the case. And that's the precedent you don't really want to set. You don't want to set that precedent for people to cosplay black people. It's
Right.
going to be a Pandora's box if you open that up and select a woman that cosplay like black people. Because once she gets in cosplaying like black people, then guess what? You'll never get a black official, unapologetic black person in that office anymore, because that door has now been opened and it's going to be hard to close. And I land my plane on that.
Facts. Whoa. Those were two powerful videos. Shout out to those sisters. Let me just go through this real quick. Yeah, she made some great points. Kamala Harris, I do feel, won the debate, but strangely enough, because of what the sister said in the debate or in that clip that you just put up, she basically lured Trump into playing her game. That's why she won the debate, not because she was doing so well or she was giving any facts or any policies, but she made him play her game. She played Trump, and it's sad because there was so much opportunity. This woman actually said in an interview and on that debate stage, we had a bipartisan bill. We were ready to pass it to shut the borders and so forth, but Donald Trump called his buddies in Congress and told them to kill the bill. So you mean to tell me, this woman said this twice, once in her disastrous interview and once in that debate, and Trump did not call her out on it. She's basically telling you that Trump has more power outside the White House than she has in it. That's what she's telling you. If he has more power outside the White House than you have in it, what the fuck we need you for? It was a golden opportunity, and there were several moments like that Trump just, he was focused on some dumb shit like crowd sizes and people eating pets, and he didn't hone in and zap her ass. I would have lit Kamala Harris's ass up on that stage. She made so many errors. You understand what I'm saying? This woman still to this day refuses to say with her chest that she is black. She still hasn't said it. And that's because she's not. But the liberals get out there and they make up all these elaborate lies like having 40,000 women on a Zoom call when only 1,000 people at one time can be on a Zoom call. That's a fact. I looked it up. I'm on Zoom all the time. How you get 40,000 people on Zoom? Bruh, they just talk all this dumb shit and nobody ever fact checks it. That's the importance of this show. You gotta get out there and look into everything that you see. And in some cases, like the Zoom call shit, just use your common sense. If it don't sound right, fact check, think. But no, as my mom likes to say, they like to believe whatever the nice white man on television tells them. You understand? That's just what it is. The other sister made powerful points talking about how these, oh man, they should have called them out for that. You're bringing out the Central Park Five at your convention when the prosecutors in New York were all Democrats at the time. They were all Democrats. I was a Democrat at the time. You understand? I would have lit her dumb ass up because at the end of the day, you talk all this shit you talk about Trump taking out an ad in the newspaper. Trump is not the person who actually ruled and put media out to demonize these young men and had them locked up. That was the Democratic Party. The one that Kamala Harris is running on the ticket of right now. You got to pay attention. And y'all distract so easily. I disagree with you slightly. They say that black men are the cause of this or whatever the case may be, and you don't want to be blamed. I do want to be blamed. I would love for them to blame black men. You know why? Because goddamn it, they'll start listening to black men. Because now you got people like what's the chick with the broad shoulders, Simone Sanders, coming out talking this bullshit about we didn't ask black men for their unsolicited opinions and blah blah blah. All this neck waving, getting out there, literally jumping in front of somebody to protect Joe Biden with her big chunky ass. You dig? Like, we don't need, she just mad because she can't be a man. That's the problem with her. You dig? But all the hatred and vitriol directed towards black men because we refuse to do what you say. Okay, cool. I'll own it. Please blame it on me because the next time around, they're going to respect black men and black men's opinions. If we give them a gigantic fuck you, they blame it on us. The problem is we don't want to accept the blame. I feel like we should lean into that shit. Yes, black men, we the ones who said no. We the ones that kept your ass out the White House. You want to get in the White House, you're going to have to see us. And fuck who don't like it. That's how I think we should position that shit. That's just how I feel.
I hear what you're saying. I think it would be more effective by letting the people know that black women ain't, because I think it's the narrative is out there that black women support everything, so they don't need the black man. But if you start seeing black women moving kind of like the black man now they're like, hold up, something got to give, because we don't want the black women to all move with the black man, because then now the black women are going to be in a space with the black men over here, and then once they get together, then they're going to power up, and then we're really going to lose power. So
I think two things can be true. I think that you can do both.
Yeah, that's why I pointed that out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I put it out like that. Go ahead, Bobby.
Go ahead, Bobby.
Agree with that. I gotta jump on the bandwagon. Those sisters were bringing out the flamethrowers, were making it hot, making it spicy and smoky. I loved it. Mm-hmm. And again, they keep on bringing out the same point. They brought up the same point that we've been saying. And to be honest, I might not necessarily, and of course I think that she's bad news for us, but I would not necessarily be as at people's neck about going for Kamala if they were just going to use the same litmus test for her that they did for Tangerine. The problem is, just like with that debate, they want to give Kama Sutra a wide slashing carte blanche, license to kill. Mm-hmm. Whatever she says is gospel. They don't question. They don't double check it. They don't dig deeper. She says it. It's fine. And if it doesn't sound right, well, at least it's not Tangerine. You cannot call yourself politically sophisticated, mature, or intellectual if your default cop-out is, at least she's not blah, 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 blah. That is not mature. That's childish.
Right.
That's maybe only a half a step above, I know you are, but what am I?
Right.
My God. Mm-hmm. At least you're not this person. Well, at least you're not dead in a ditch somewhere. Does that mean I can slap you in the face? I mean, come on. Let's use our reason.
Yeah, politics is way,
and the crazy thing is, people tend to hate discussing politics, mainly because politics should be an intellectual exercise, but it becomes an emotional exercise. And that's a problem. Politics should not be emotional. There should be zero room for emotion when you're talking about politics. You're talking about leadership. You're talking about decisions that are going to affect people. As Dr. Claude Anderson, God bless our elder, says, politics is about who is going to have what out of life. Who is going to eat off the table? Who's going to get the scraps? Who's going to get resources allocated to them and their group? That's what it's about. There's no room for emotion in that. There should be none. And if there is, you're doing it all wrong. Mm-hmm. You got to be mindful about this kind of thing going forward. We cannot do this again. And if we're going to sit back and look at everything on the table and say, well, you know what, Kama Sutra is the best choice, there needs to be reasons behind that.
Right.
There's a reason why the Democrats have basically made their political campaign and strategy, at least without the other guy. They may as well run T-shirts that say that. Vote Kamala Harris. At least she's not the other guy.
Yeah.
I can't recall the last time, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm some political savant who's been around Capitol Circle and studies all the bylines and everything, but I can't recall the last time I've basically seen a whole political campaign get badgered and hammered for any sort of political stance. Well, what's your agenda? What are you going to do? What do you want to do? People have to beg you, or what's your campaign? Well, it was just randomly sprung on her, so she doesn't have anything ready yet. You knew you knew there was a chance that you were going to run and you're going to try to run. And let's be honest, for the most part, anytime there's been a political campaign, typically it's been the vice presidential candidate that's gone to run afterwards. Typically, if there's been a 2-term ticket, you want to keep the good vibes going. You want to take this person that's been out there, they've been successful, they're in the eye, no one's going to have more visibility than them, unless it's some huge scandal that knocks them off the throne or something, you want to keep that momentum going. Well, you like this last president, well, they're part of the administration, so you want to put them in again.
Yeah.
So at some point, the idea should have occurred either because the old guy is going to get knocked off or because he gets in one more term. You want to prepare for that cycle. You should have some idea of what your policy is going to be. If nothing else, you could run on the same platform as your presidential nominee. So there's no reason it should take 19 years to go ahead and come up with a policy unless you don't have anything. Unless you've got zero. Unless you know that you're spitballing the same way the other guys are, and so your whole strategy is, let's make sure this person looks unlikable and say we're not like them. People thought that the movie Idiocracy was talking about the Republican Party. No, it was talking about both parties. And we've proven that the Idiocracy can take place with the conservatives and the liberals alike.
Yep.
Definitely
All
well
facts.
said.
And look, just to put it out there, because that's actually the most ridiculous excuse that I've heard. The excuse that, oh, well, she needed some time to get her stuff together because, you know, she wasn't running. Yes, she was. She was just running alongside someone else, but she was running for president. Stop saying that stupid shit. Go ahead, Ann. What you got? God damn, that shit got on my nerves. She literally was running for president, and they're making the excuse that she didn't have no time.
All right, so I'm gonna pull up this one real quick. Let me see what this is. I think we didn't do
As
this
Vice
one.
President of the United States, and in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction. I made that very clear in 2020.
Why is it stopping? I don't know. I don't know why that one stopped. Let me see. Hold on. Okay, so they had. I'm trying to find this one. I think this is it right here. They basically talked about. I think Trump was talking about the whole abortion thing, the Roe versus Wade, and on the presidential thing, he was saying that you guys are killing children up to a late stage. So us doing the abortion, it doesn't ban them. It's just saying that at a certain point, you know, after a certain point, then you don't need to kill the child. And she was saying, no, that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? Or something about abortion. There's no, we don't kill live children or anything like that. You know, something she was saying. But here's the video to debunk that real quick. I want y'all to check this video out.
Delegate Tran.
Yes, sir.
How late in a pregnancy would your bill apply if a physician was simply willing to certify that the continuation of the pregnancy would impair the mental health of the woman? How late are we talking about?
Well, so the way the suggestion that we've made in the bill is to say it's in the third trimester and at the, you know, with the certification of the physician. So
how late in the third trimester would you be able to do that?
You know, it's very unfortunate that our physicians, witnesses, were not able to attend today to speak specifically.
No, I'm talking about your bill. How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
Or physical health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
So, I mean, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Okay, but to the end of the third trimester.
Yep, I don't think we have a limit in the bill.
So, where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth, she has physical signs that she is about to give a birth, would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman would
I understand
make at
that. I'm asking
point.
if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
All right, so that was basically the lawyer catching them in a lie. And that was also fact-checking Kamala at the same time. And you can see right here, this is the chart, states that policies that ban abortion on near fetal visibility. And these are the different shades. You guys could definitely jot down and study that chart later if you want. And here's the other chart as well, abortion access in the United States. And then it shows you all the red states, no total ban, certain states up to 6 weeks, certain states up to 12 weeks, certain states up to 15 weeks, certain states up to 18 weeks, certain states from 20 to 26 weeks, certain states up to the third trimester, and then some no restriction based on their duration. So there's a map that's mapped out for you. You know, like I said, one time we like to do a lot of fact checking here and give people the information. What you do with it is what you feel necessary to do with it. I also want to talk about, she said that she didn't want to take away guns, which she has several videos out there that she does say she would take away guns. And this is her VP
Minnesotans,
saying,
and I, especially amongst them, are not going to stand by and let people keep making this about the Second Amendment. We've got gun safety bill on the table, and we're going to get it passed. I'm going to sign it, and this is what's going to happen. We're going to have universal background checks. We're going to have red flag laws, keep guns out of the hands of people. And we all know damn well weapons of war have no place in our schools, in our churches, in our banks, or anyone wants to live in peace. When I first started in Congress, I hadn't.
All right, so that's that. Here's the tweet that she said, even though she went on stage and said that she didn't want to take away guns. She wasn't being truthful about that. And she said, you know, we must renew that. One thing I got to tell people, do your research on things, because you're thinking that taking away guns, they're removing the guns, these high power guns. These guns are going to protect you in the long run. We had several weapons trainer on here on one episode. You guys could go back and watch. You're going to need those high power guns, especially dealing with an influx of people that came here with a hidden agenda that you will see revealed later on down the road. I've been telling people, especially young women, that single women, go out there and make sure you got your weapon. You're going to need these high power guns, because when you have an army of these people trying to come into your place and do what you need to do, what they need to do for you, they don't care about your family. You need to have something there to protect your family. And these guns that they're trying to get rid of, these guns would wipe out an army of 40, 50 people that's coming to try to do some real damage to you and your family. So signing off and co-signing things that you guys will end up being your demise in the long run. Understand what's really at stake here. Don't let what you see being promoted to you as taken as face value. There's a reason why they want to take these guns away. It starts with this, and then next thing you know, they're going to start having all type of shootings with regular guns. Then they're going to take those away from you, and then it's going to get to knives. And then shit, they might take knives away. Who knows? But I can tell you one thing: in Europe, I think they took away the guns out of there, and now they do knives over there. I know in China for a fact they took the guns out of. Yeah, they took the guns out of China. I know that for a fact. So, like I say, you got to watch what's going on in the world to understand the agendas that's coming here as well. And I will definitely play this last video real quick.
The amount of money going to Ukraine in this bill is more than we spend on the entire Marine Corps. Think about it. We're going to send to Ukraine more money than we spend on our own Marine Corps. This is a bill about Ukraine first. This is a bill that makes us weaker. There is no money to give to Ukraine. It's not like we've got a pot of money. There is no surplus. There is no rainy day fund. This money will be printed up or borrowed from China to send to Ukraine. It makes us weaker.
Yeah.
Once the border bill failed and they decided that this wasn't really about the border, that this was about Ukraine's border, the American firsters plowed on, but with a more intellectually honest proposal. Nothing for America, everything for Ukraine. That's what this bill is. Nothing for America, nothing to stop the invasion of nearly 1 million people across our southern border. They offered a border bill that would have said, well, if we have an emergency, the emergency's already happened. Nearly 1 million people came in the last 2 months. That is the emergency.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
Well
the reason why I basically showed that video is because, did you guys see the name of that senator?
Rand Paul. I know Rand Paul.
Okay. Yeah, what Rand Paul did.
Rand
You know
Paul
what?
is Ron Paul's son. He's a libertarian candidate. He ran for president.
No,
What
I'm
do you mean?
saying, what did Rand Paul do for the black community?
Nothing that I recall directly. Maybe something I forgot. He has a long history. Rand Paul has a lot of stuff. What are you looking for specifically?
Something that he did that kind of helped out with some of the community members in the community, which was the Breonna Taylor, Breonna Taylor, our sister that got killed. Rand Paul, not no Democrat. This is a Republican, not no Democrat. This is the guy who put in he ceased the no-knock policy. That's what got our sister Breonna Taylor killed.
Right.
When they were going after. So he was the one who initiated and said, nah, you know what? That's fucked up what happened. This ain't gonna happen to nobody else. And he took initiative as a Republican to put that bill in on behalf of Breonna Taylor. And I thought that was super dope. And this is a guy who is Republican. And it goes to show you that you can't line up with the party, line up with the policy, line up with the people who are going to do stuff that works in the favor for your community and the people that look like you. If this man is white as snow and can have empathy during a tragic situation and said right then and there, let's nip that in the bud. Because I can't sleep knowing that if I don't address it now, then it might be another Breonna Taylor tomorrow morning off of this same no-knock policy. And he eradicated that. So out of the whole state, can't do no-knock policy. It's illegal. Then the police officers will get in trouble for that. That's what you do. That's leadership, leading by example. And like I say, a lot of these states are ran by Democrat, and you didn't have no Democratic person coming up following that suit. So it goes to show you that was an eye opener. And just like you had the Republican that the Democrats pulled the reparation off the table, and then you had a Republican putting it back out there. Like, even though he might not have a true agenda about it, might be trying to piss off. But hey, shit, you put the battery in somebody's back like that and say, hey, and you use them to put the opposition on blast. So
my enemy is my friend.
Exactly. So you got to start putting these people on blast and start being strategic and getting real tangible things done. That's all I have for me. You guys can wrap it up, and then we can get into our crown check tonight.
That was pretty solid right there. I mean, the brother, shout out to Rand Paul for that. A lot of people, his campaign really got taken apart because of some racist shit that he said, whatever the case may be. But again, people make gaffes. People say things that, are ill put together. You know what I'm saying? People say things that are inartfully stated. You need to look at the type of policies that this person is looking to implement. That is what is important. That is what matters. People be worried about all the wrong shit. There are quite a few things that he said, quite a few things that Trump has said that I don't agree with, that I don't like. But what is he going to do? Period. That is the bottom line figure. That is what we should be concerning ourselves with. If you don't take anything else from this, black people, start looking at people's policies and listen to them when they talk about what they are going to do for you. You're so busy trying to get this white acceptance and a pat on the head from white mommy and white daddy that you're not actually thinking about things that are going to benefit you. The NABJ was a great example of that. Donald Trump went to go sit down with them, and instead of asking him real questions about tangible policies that we might be able to get for our people, instead of asking Donald Trump about tangible policies that we'd be able to get for our people, these buffoons sat down there and started bringing up old things that Trump said and trying to get a gotcha moment and a sister girl moment out of the interview. They got all emotional and stupid. That ain't the way to move. That was a golden opportunity. Hey, Trump, what's up, man? Good to see you here. You know, we've had some disagreements in the past with some of your statements, whatever the case may be, but let's move forward. Let's talk about how we can help the Black community. You want our vote? We want to know what you're prepared to do for us, and just put it out there. And Trump is a businessman. He knows what business is. That's why he's there to conduct business with your dumb ass. Let's not talk about petty things that happened a couple years ago. Let's talk about the here and now and how we can move forward. That was a missed opportunity because they had rank amateurs at the NABJ that don't know what the fuck they're doing. You understand? And, you know, that's a whole other issue. We could do a whole show on poor representation. We have poor representation in radio, in television, just about any position that you can that you know, where people can articulate the interest and needs of the Black community to someone who can actually do something about it. We have the worst niggas ever. The Steve Harveys, the Roland Martins, the Ricky Smileys, the what's that other coon? I forget his Steve. I said Steve Harvey already. The Joy Reeds. You understand what I'm saying? The Angela Rise. These
Down Low Hughley.
Nothing. Huh? Who?
Down Low Hughley.
Down Low Hughley, exactly. These people know nothing about what actual everyday Black people want and need. These are elites that were handpicked and put in the positions they were put in simply because they ain't gonna do shit for Black people and all they care about is themselves. These are the I want a good job niggas, you know, and we don't have time for them. You know what I'm saying? So I encourage y'all out there, the Jill Steins, the Donald Trumps, even the Kamala Harrises of the world. Go sit down with Tariq Nasheed. Go sit down with Professor Black Truth, Jason Black, and these people who really have their ear to the streets and their finger on the pulse of what Black people really want. You understand? Because they have large followings and they talk to the people literally every day. You know, these niggas are out of touch and, you know, in their cushy office counting their millions, and they don't really care about nothing that Black folks actually want and need. They're just there to do the bidding. They're just there to do the bidding of the Democrats. That's really it. There's always a Democratic hand up the ass of any of these Sambos telling them what to say. I'll land my plane.
Ultra fats.
I do want to I just want to add on to what he just said. That's very important. Don't be afraid to talk to, you know, these individuals, because even somebody like a Senator Rad Paul, if he said some kind of statements that are deemed racist, or Trump say some statements that are deemed racist, these are actually great people to talk to, because you can actually use that to your power. You know, hold a lot of these racists have guilt. Hold their guilt to say, hey, you really feel that way towards Black? No, I don't feel that way. Okay, then show me something you're going to do for Black folks.
Great point.
That you, so that I know you're not a racist. Because remember, that's what Dr. King ended up doing with Lyndon B. Johnson to get the civil rights movement passed. So you talking about Lyndon B. Johnson, we talked about that several times, of the whole Intel Pro, COINTELPRO program was installed by that. You know, this is the guy who was responsible for the death of Fred Hampton. So you can use their anti-Blackness and flip it and get something tangible out of it. See, that's why they don't really want people to be blatant racist like that and then have unapologetic people approach them, because they know that they could end up using that and getting some tangible assets and resources out of it. So That's what I just wanted to implement that. Go ahead, Bobby. You
I was
build
gonna say,
on that.
I don't want to hear that excuse about, oh, so and so is a racist. I don't want to hear it because an excuse, because we have proven time and time again that unfortunately we don't care about certain people being racist. We just want to make sure that they're our racist, my preferred racist. I like
Right.
this race. I don't like that race. That racist. You can't you because if that was the case, then black people definitely would not be Democrats. Because the same gentleman that you just brought up, Mr. Lyndon Baines Johnson, LBJ, he was the one who was a noted. This is a Democrat now. And this was after the parties have flip-flopped as well, too. So you can't say, well, this was the old Democrat. No, this was the present-day Democratic Party that we know and love. He was a well-known racist. He was known for dropping the N-bomb and a whole bunch of other slurs about black people. That was known.
Yeah.
And it was documented that he did not want to pass the civil rights bill. He didn't want to give black people their civil rights. But he decided to take one on the chin, take one for the team. He was gonna get with this with the sloppy hit chick, so the fam could get with the bad broads. And he said, "You know what? I don't want to do this, but if I go ahead and pass this bill, I'll have these niggers voting Democratic for the next 200 years."
Yep.
And look at all the good niggers voting Democratic. Look at
Facts. Facts.
line up. Not just voting for a Democratic candidate. Got them talking about vote blue no matter who. Vote
Like a
down
coon.
ballot.
Yep.
No, they're niggas. I don't want to hear about them about I'm not supporting a racist coming from us, because he's the same ones who turn around and vote for your good pals, the KK Clintons. We're talking about the Central Park Five and the Democratic prosecutor. Let's not forget that New York State has been a Democratic enclave for God knows how long, just like California. You couldn't tell by some of the policies, but on paper they're Democrats and liberals.
Right.
And during that same time, it was your good old pal Hillary Clinton talking about black males are super predators. And then your good old boy Jim Crow Joey Biden teaming up with Billy Clinton, aka the Haiti scavenger, tearing up the gold mines over in Haiti with his brother Roger Clinton. He was the one who helped co-author the bill, the omnibus crime bill, that was responsible for mass incarceration as we know it today. And then turned around and instead of taking accountability, blamed black people, said, well, you all said you wanted it, so we gave you all what you wanted. Black people also want reparations. I don't see you tripping over your feet to go ahead and get that passed out.
Right. Right.
So clearly our desires aren't enough for you. So these are your favorite racists. You love, support, and sponsor them. I don't want to hear about that nonsense. Again, that's emotion. All that matters is, what are you going to do for me right now? If we're truly politically sophisticated, then we'll understand the concept that we do not have any permanent friends or permanent enemies, only permanent interests.
Right.
I don't care who's in. I don't care if Kama Sutra's in office. I don't care if Tangerine's in office. I don't care if Billy Blanks, the Tybo guy, is in office. I just want to know which one of you mofos is going to do something for black people.
There you go.
And whoever that is, you can get his support. As much as I talk about Kama Sutra, I'll vote for her tomorrow if she'll come out right now with an agenda for black people and pledge to push her through.
Right.
I'll do the same for Tangerine. I'll do the same for Carrot Top. Who's going to do the work? That's all that matters. You're so caught up on faces that you're neglecting who's going to get the work done. So you'd rather have a do-nothing somebody in here that you put in office as opposed to someone that you don't really care for, but they're willing to make things happen for you.
Well said.
Definitely. Before we get out of here, I did want to show this real quick. A lot of you guys talking about Trump all the time. I'm so tired of everybody just saying Trump, Trump, Trump. They're making you feel like this guy is the poster child of the worst president ever, right? But today, remember, Trump is 70-something years old. today is just Trump, right? Then guess what? Tomorrow is going to be this guy, right? He's going to end up running for president. Then they're going to have you say, oh, don't vote Republican because you've seen all the stuff that he was saying. All right. Then what about this guy? What if he runs for president? Oh, don't vote for Republicans. Oh, these guys are racist. Oh, you remember all the stuff he did? Okay. Then what about this guy? What if he runs? Oh, don't vote for the Republicans. This guy's racist. Then what about this guy? Oh, don't vote for Republicans. This guy's racist. So they always have somebody in their back pocket that they can use the political theatrics to scare you as the poster child of racism.
The boogeyman.
Yeah, the boogeyman. I just showed you 4 new boogeymans that could replace Trump. They're always, and there's going to be more people that's younger that they're going to promote to keep that blatant racism going on the one side and have you with the covert racism on the other side. So stop being scared of that and start standing up on both sides and say, I don't care who you is, covert or not, you're not going to punk me into doing nothing or voting for nothing. Give me some tangibles or I'm not voting for either one of y'all. And that's how that goes. All right. So when you talk about the worst president ever, I want people to understand you had George Bush. Remember, George Bush, under George Bush, we had black people that were getting killed during the time of Katrina by 5 police officers. They did not get prosecuted on a high level. They got a slap on the wrist. So when you talk about Trump giving immunity, you had this goofball that gave 5 cops immunity for killing black people during a natural disaster occurrence. And all 5 officers got probation. They got probation for killing all those people during, look it up. That's something that they swept under the rug, but it's still public information. Look it up. All right. You got Bill Clinton. We just talked about that with the 3 strike laws. And that bill was written by Joe Biden. All right. Let's not forget that. All right. So you had a bill by Bill Clinton that decimated the black community. Obama, you had Obama who had came in and he had a bill that decimated the black community as far as housing with his housing bill. And he also had a bill called the Blue Alert Law that gave all the police immunity, protection, and even high artillery coming into urban areas. This is what this goofball did. All right.
Militarize the police. Yep.
You had Trump. Guess what? You had Trump.
Yeah.
What policies did he put in that hurt black people?
He didn't really put any policies that hurt black people. That's facts.
Okay.
That's
then
fact.
you got Biden. Biden, who also wrote the crime bill. Biden that also put in play for the Asian thing. All right. So you had the Asian crime law. You had him put that in place. All this anti-black stuff that's been going on to people. He's been saying, remember he was on, got caught on video call talking down to the Black Caucus and, telling them that. And then he went on Charlemagne and said, if you don't vote me, you ain't black. This man's been sitting here spewing all type of anti-black shit all day, every day. Remember, this is the same person that said that he would love to submerge Haiti under the water. But yet, the worst president that y'all keep talking about is this guy who did not put any policies in there to harm black folks. And I'll land my plane on that, and we definitely go into our last segment, which is Crown Check for the evening. And our Crown Check goes out to this lovely, lovely young lady, 12 years old. At 12 years old, Grace Moore became one of the youngest composers to join the prestigious New York Center Philharmonic Orchestra. Her extraordinary talent and passion for music, nurtured since the age of 2, have led to the world premiere of her composition in October. As a Black person, Grace aspires to inspire others to pursue their passion and appreciate music. Meet the 12-year-old who's doing phenomenal things, and shout out to Grace Moore.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding.
Outstanding.
Music composition.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow. Young
Her own composition.
Moore.
Remember, this is her own composition. This is her conducting the whole shit.
That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
wild.
Music composition is not easy.
It's
It's
not.
not.
A lot of people struggle with just being able to read sheet music. She's out here composing. She's thinking in times and measures.
That's wild. That's wild. 12 years old.
And it's 12 years old.
On the big stage. And that's why, if you guys look in the article, I did not, and I want Black people, when it comes to policies, get away from minority, get away from people of color. That shit is bullshit. It's
My
bullshit.
God, please.
Let them state Black. If it's not Black, don't accept that bullshit. All right? Just a FYI.
No doubt.
You guys could definitely take us out.
Yeah, I'll make this quick. I see we're a little over.
Yeah.
Black folks, long story short, do your homework, do your research, get out there and really get involved. Do your civic duty, as a citizen, and make sure that before you just go casting your vote, you know who you're casting your vote for and why. Don't let people play your emotions. Don't let people play you. You do not have to just be thankful because you're allowed to vote because your ancestors died because you're supposed to vote. No, your ancestors died so that you could have the choice to vote or not. And there is also a very powerful message in not voting. You don't have to vote for two people that ain't gonna do shit for you. One of two people who ain't gonna do shit for you. You don't have to do that. You understand? And stop voting out of fear and tradition. You're intelligent people. You can think for yourself. Stop believing what the nice white man on television says to you, because it ain't done nothing for us thus far. And we have to get more politically savvy. Look, I don't have a problem with immigrants coming here necessarily. What I do have a problem with is the influx of millions of illegal immigrants coming here and being prioritized over American citizens. That is the issue, and when people say that type of stuff to you, you have to know how to correctly articulate these points. When people say stuff to you about immigration and, oh, you're a fear monger, or, you hate immigrants or whatever, you got to check their ass at the door. No, it's not necessarily that I hate immigrants or have anything against those people necessarily. But your policies, United States government, do not prioritize your tax-paying citizens. You prioritize, and specifically, Black people, Black Americans, the people who built this damn country.
Foundational Black Americans.
Foundational Black Americans, the people who built this country. You ignore us all the time, yet and still you come around every 4 years and you ask for a damn vote, and you're not prepared to do anything to get it. Black folks, we gotta stop cracking open our booty hole and letting these people take advantage of us every fucking 4 years. You gotta be smarter than that. I'll park the Chevy.
Amen.
Take us home.
They treat us like that deadbeat daddy that don't pay no child support, never sees the kids spend time, but only comes around. Want to see if baby mama's still gonna let him lay up with her.
Right.
And if she says yes, then he goes and he may spend 3 hours watching TV with the kids. When he's done, trying to sleep off the nut. And if she says no, then he leaves. Don't see him Junior, nothing like that. Big ups to that sister again. That is a huge accomplishment for any person at the age of 12 years old. That's stupendous. These gents said, I'm going to keep it short, sweet, and simple. I'm going to go to the wisdom that came before us from our good elder, El Hajj Malik Shabazz, Brother Malcolm X. And again, this is an endorsement for any political party. I'm apolitical in that regard. It's about divorcing ourselves at great risk, because I know this is like slapping your great-great-grandmama and them. I understand that, but at great personal risk to myself, I'm giving this direct quotation from one of the GOATs of Black empowerment.
Okay.
Regarding our unnatural affection and undying loyalty to one particular party. When he said, the white liberal is the worst enemy, not a, but is the worst enemy to America and the worst enemy to the Black man. The liberal elements of whites are those who have perfected the art of selling themselves to the Negro as a friend of the Negro, getting sympathy of the Negro, getting the allegiance of the Negro, and getting the mind of the Negro. What have we been talking about tonight? Then the Negro sides with the white liberal. Listen closely. Then the Negro sides with the white liberal. And the white liberal uses the Negro against the white conservative. So that anything that the Negro does is never for his own good, never for his own advancement, never for his own progress. He's only a pawn in the hands of the white liberal. If you take a look now at the state of major black enclaves, for the most part, black people don't live in heavily conservative Republican areas. They live in blue areas. They mainly live in blue states, in blue cities. Take a look at the conditions that you're in. Take a look at the crime rates. Take a look at the job opportunities. Take a look at the economic empowerment advancements that are or are not happening around you.
Right.
Now ask yourself exactly how much good voting blue, no matter who, has done for you. Now your favorite football team just won. Congratulations, but the team ain't doing nothing for you. They're looking out for other people, but not for you.
Right.
But your team is in the office, so good for you. That's a win, right? You tell me. Ladies and gents, thanks for rocking with us for yet another week. You already know what I'm about to do. You know what I'm here for. Make sure you bang that line, like, share, subscribe. Tell somebody to tell somebody about what we do here each and every week at this time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you click on that bell and hit all notifications. We do not abuse your news feed. We are not going to spam your notifications. But when we go live, ready to bring the power to you guys the way that we only can, that's when you're going to get that little ding so you can keep locked with us. Make sure you follow each of us on our socials. We're active on Facebook. We have an Instagram presence. And, of course, you can join our Manifestations 2020 group as well, too. We chop it up there. We have a lot of good discussions. We share a lot of good information there. Get linked in with us. We'll see y'all next week, same time, same place, same faces.
Peace.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
You gotta eat what you kill. You gotta go out there, you gotta hunt for your meals.
We all have that ability to connect with people, to be that motivational person in somebody's life.
You gotta let people know there's certain lines you don't cross and that there's gonna be consequences if you do.
Man up.
If you are an adult and you are in a relationship, that person's emotions are not your responsibility.
Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
The devil, during slavery, destroyed the masculinity or manhood of the so-called Negro. No man. No man. Right now you got to be trained all over again to be a man.
When someone is obligated to do something, it is binding upon them to do it. And failure to do it causes reaction.
Man up.
Focus shall make you rich. I don't have that type of richness. My richness is life forever.
If that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, if that people knew their glorious past, then they would be more inclined to respect themselves.
I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
You want to tell me about yourself? Go get your friends. I'll tell you who you are based on who your friends are.
Don't just live and die. That's an ugly existence. Make your life matter, make your life count. Live a life where people can actually mourn you for the things you left behind, not just because you were around and existed.
We need strong black nuclear family.
Yes. Yes.
That's what it is. Mother, father, son, daughter, all in the same house with a focus on the family unit as a whole.
We had Tulsa, Atlanta, New Jersey, Detroit. We had Rosewood. We had Black Wall Streets all over.
The Republicans aren't for us, but the Democrats aren't for us either. And we should have no alliance to any political party. We only have alliance to what is in our own best
A
interest.
place where we inform, build, and inspire.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations. Man up.
A place where we inform.
Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build, and
Man up.
inspire.
At the end of the day, as men in the community, we
Man
must
up.
stand together and be counted because people look to us for guidance, leadership, and
Man up.
protection. And if we are not about that business, we are not on our job.
Man up.
Here we have grown-ass man conversations in the spirit of that purpose.
Man up.
Anthony Malcolm, Bobby Drake, Major Gage.
Man up.
We are. This is Manifestations 2020.
Manifestations. Man up. Manifestations.
A place where we inform, build,